Hey everyone, today I'm here with Journey to Grandmaster, and I am originally from Ukraine and now living in Germany, studying too. And today he's going to analyze for our special recap of round number 4 of this tournament, number 3 of this tournament, pardon, my game against a 2100 from Sweden. It was a wild ride. I hope you enjoy this video, and here is the analysis. Honestly, you need to roast my chest. Like, this is a terrible move, you suck, you need to say this.
I'm
like
good
this.
at that.
Okay, perfect.
Let's go. D4,
Like, be as Ukrainian as possible to me.
Knight goes to 3.
Yes.
6. And you are playing black.
Yes.
Somebody plays London to you.
Yes.
What do you feel?
So I don't love the London, but I played it out of my 80 games of recaps. I had one London in Sevilla against like a 1600 and it went well. I just like tried to trade off the bishop pairs and like go to an endgame, but it was very drawish. So overall, I'm not that confident OTB against the London.
Yeah, it's very difficult to outplay it as black, especially if white doesn't want to play for win, then you're kind of stuck.
So what is your opinion on the London?
I hate it.
You hate playing against it?
I hate playing it because it's so boring. I hate playing against it because it's very difficult to win. But actually today I played as black and I played kind of London.
Against the London?
No, I played London myself as black.
Oh, as black, okay.
Because, yeah,
it's a good setup against like hyper-modern openings from white, no?
Yeah. Because as black you want to equalize and it's just equal there according to the computer and so you are happy. But as white you want something better, right? Mm-hmm. So e3, and you play bishop f5. Don't you do this weird stuff with queen b6? And
yeah, so the engine said that this was a mistake because he can just take immediately. Look, I'm going to be honest, I combined like this with this plan system and this with this into like this with this, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it feels like from different
Yeah, it feels
plans.
bad, but main line I think is this, right?
Maybe, but they quite often they play queen b6, but you need to know your stuff because the knight is going to
yeah,
e5 and
after
it's
queen takes.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, so just for the viewers like this, and my queen gets pretty much trapped, right? I need to know like a long sequence. Queen b4, c3.
Yeah, I guess this particular variant can be just a draw because you need to cover that and then rook can chase you forever. But you can also start, you're already attacking the pawn. You can start with a6, for example, just to cover that, and then you are still threatening to take.
Okay.
And it might be a little bit annoying.
And this is equal?
Yeah.
Okay.
London is always equal. No matter what you do, it's always equal, but it's always difficult to win. And here, at least, you get some game.
Except if you blunder a pawn after. But he didn't take it, thankfully.
Yeah, he played c4.
c4. And now, what do you think of a position like this? Because it's very symmetrical, obviously. And I was like clueless because there's so many taking possibilities from both sides.
Yeah, normally in the symmetrical position, white is better just because he has an extra tempo. But at some point you need to take right to leave him like with an isolated pawn ideally. Like if you take on d4, he takes back with the pawn. If you take on c4, then you already achieved your goal.
Just like here, like
But
I never
he
saw
takes
that was
with the
available. And then the tempo on my bishop.
But I guess you can just go back. The problem is you should be careful with such moves because you are making a very, you're breaking the principle. One piece, one move.
Yes.
This is like
in
the
the
key.
opening.
And now you're making the second one and that leads to some difficulties.
And also the bishop is off this, so there's no bishop d7 to defend. Like, I don't love this thing.
Well, yeah, that might be
Or is it not troubling
So I
enough?
wouldn't really start with it. Normally in the opening you make pawn moves only if you really need it, like to fight for the center or something. Otherwise you should focus on really developing your pieces.
Okay.
So I guess knight c6 seems to be very reasonable. Knight c3. And here we play d6. Yeah, we have a very symmetrical.
Very symmetrical. Super boring, but this is... I chose this game because I learned the most from this.
Okay.
Like, I was very clueless as to what to do, if not just copy.
Well, at some point you need to stop copy because it's not gonna work for you because
Yeah.
your opponent is gonna create the first threat and you're going to
100%.
be stuck there. Okay, bishop e2, 6. Yeah, by the way, maybe at some point you can play knight h5, but also once again it's breaking the principle, so you are always careful with that.
So this is too slow? Or the knight h5 is breaking the principle, moving a piece
Yeah,
twice?
if you go knight h5, like normally in
Okay.
the London they always play like h3, h6. I also
Okay.
did it today just to make sure that I get my bishop. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of two bishops.
Yes, me too.
And I don't want to lose it. But yeah, your opponent did the same.
Okay.
And once again, with that symmetrical.
Completely symmetrical.
Let's see how far it goes. Yeah, now he breaks it. takes here, and you're not taking back on c4.
Yes.
Instead, you're taking on d. But that is exactly what I was talking about. It is allowing white to create an isolated pawn.
I know, but I didn't see another way out. I know about this, and I said, okay, if I keep pieces on the board, usually if you have an isolated pawn, if you can get a kingside attack going,
Exactly.
then I was like, this could be possible, but here there's not even a kingside attack possible. I don't think it's very hard to mobilize.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I just didn't like the lines. Like, if we go back, so he takes here first,
No,
right?
he takes here.
Okay, yeah, he takes here. On takes, I didn't like bishop d6.
Wow.
Looks horrible for white.
Can we continue?
No. Takes first. Takes here? No.
If you
Is
repeat,
this possible?
If you repeat, we repeat. Ah, maybe he takes, and then you cannot take because of bishop h7.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yes.
you have to take here because it's
And then
the
you're
bishop.
up a pawn, though. Can we win this pawn? That's
Not
I don't think
really.
so.
Maybe knight before knight e5, but yeah, e4 is coming. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Symmetrical position, you always should be careful with repeating the moves because sometimes you just cannot take back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this is creating a problem.
So this was always like a...
Okay, so you took on c5. But on the other hand, if you want to outplay your opponent, I'm not sure whether he was stronger than you in terms of rating.
2100.
Okay,
So he had 80 points over me.
okay. Then maybe, yeah, I don't know, maybe you still wanted to win the game, and
Yeah,
then it's
100%.
good to create imbalance. Like if you have isolated pawn, he doesn't, then it's something different in the position.
Yeah.
It gives you chances to outplay.
So this was a good decision to get an isolated pawn.
Well, if you know how to operate it,
Yeah.
I
Which-
guess
okay.
you have some squares, you have all of the pieces active, and that's what you need with the isolated pawn. At some point, you can just sacrifice it just to get some initiative going on.
Okay.
So let's see whether you...
This is... Okay, so... Because right off the bat, I thought this was my first mistake. But if, you know, if you say that it's okay and we see, I'm
Well,
just...
normally it depends on whether a white can control this d4 square, like blockading the square before the pawn very, very well. If they don't, if you have time, but even if they play something like knight b5, first of all, they spend a lot of time because you need already one move, knight c3, then second one, the third one to get to d3, to d4, sorry. So you get a lot of time to create something like play knight e4 and already start creating some threats. Maybe queen d7, thinking about sacrificing. Yeah,
Oh,
that's-
wow. Okay, queen d7 to sack here. I never thought of that. Okay.
Yeah, so he really played that, and you played bishop g6. That's something I don't like.
Okay.
Because you voluntarily waste the tempo without anybody asking for that,
Yeah.
and you are not like making any progress. Normally, you only want to make a second move with the same piece that has already been developed if it's improving somehow, if you're creating a threat, or if you want to chase this blockading square. But in your case, well, I understand you are anticipating that it's going to be under attack.
Yes, okay, thank you for seeing that. I was gonna like try to defend myself like that.
Yeah, but so many players are making this mistake. They are just thinking, okay, my opponent is gonna do something like create a threat, and so right now I already need to protect against that, and that's wrong because maybe he wants to go there, and then your move bishop g6 doesn't really help you. It's just wasting time. Maybe.
So when, because I was doing this, proud that I was doing prophylaxis, but when do you actually execute prophylactic moves?
when at the same time it's a useful move for you. Like if the bishop on g6 would be having more opportunities, I don't know, bishop h5 is on your agenda, then it makes sense because at the same time you're stepping away from this threat and creating some ideas. But if the bishop is actually not that great there, then maybe it's not so great, and it was better to, I don't know, play queen d7 and think about bishop h3.
That's really golden. Thank you.
Okay, rook
So
to
this
c1.
doesn't improve the position, and now I give the initiative to white.
Yeah, because, you know, white gets a free tempo, and now the bishop is under attack, white is developing a new piece, and you, once again, need to do something about it.
Wow. So this is maybe the big mistake.
Well, it's hard to say, but it's about time. Like in
Yeah.
isolated pawn position, it's about time. If you allow white to stabilize, to block this pawn, and just have no weaknesses, then you're in trouble, because strategically, that's of course a liability. So your advantage is in the initiative, like creating threats, attacking your opponent. If you are wasting the time, then it's gone, the opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, bishop e7. So all of your pieces are going back. That's
Yeah. It's a really bad sign. And it all starts with bishop g6. So instead of bishop g6, what would you have suggested here?
Well, I would develop one of the rooks. Those are the pieces that haven't been developed yet.
So like rook c8, rook c1, bishop
Yeah.
here?
For example, now you already can think maybe you are jumping with the knight and you don't need to go back with the bishop. Or maybe you are developing yet another piece.
Okay, so this will see this line in the game. I did not like this line because of rook takes, queen takes, bishop d6. And black doesn't want trades in an isolated pawn, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's a very important resource. Then maybe you need to start with the other rook.
Okay.
D8. Then you don't
Then
have
knight
this.
c7?
Ah, okay. Yeah, so you should be careful. You see, I guess here it's already quite uncomfortable with all
The knight
those
is
threats.
it's so fast. I mean, white gets to the blockade like in 2 moves. It's
I like rook c8, rook c1. Maybe queen can go to b6. Ah, the same thing.
same
actually.
thing. But actually the engine, later
Is
on
it
in the
so
game when it's
bad?
worse, likes this, yeah. It likes this and it says it's around equal. Maybe because we get d4 in, but it
Yeah,
would
not
surprise
sure
me.
it's so bad. Because you're exchanging very active pieces from the white side.
Yeah.
And he's left with this bishop that he needs still to somehow remaneuver to make use of it.
Maybe
And-
like bishop f3 and the knight takes up f3.
And you are exchanging the passive rook there in the process.
So we'll take back with the king.
Yeah,
Okay.
the queen will go somewhere like
b6,
b6.
yeah.
It's also creating a threat. Potentially maybe a6.
Oh,
or
a6,
b2 is
okay.
hanging.
And king takes.
Queen takes. Yeah, so the bad thing is he gets the blockade. But maybe you can just play. I also don't really like going back, so maybe you can go forward and.
Okay, I
only
never
if he
liked this during the
weakens.
game, yeah. So
But,
that
but then
weekend.
he has a huge weakness. Now the knight can go. Now the rook will come and attack.
Ah, so this is good. It's okay to lose a time here because it creates a weakness on e3.
You're not actually losing time. You're provoking your opponent to create a weakness. And now this
Wow.
bishop cannot go there.
Wow. 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 Crazy. Okay.
So that's actually the same time. Like if f3 would be useful for your opponent, then yeah, then you're wasting time. But if it's actually worsen his position rather than makes it better, then you are making something good.
And this is worse. Okay, number one, the bishop can't go here anymore, but also because I have such a fundamental control of the e4 square with all my pieces. So this is weakened.
Also strategically, like here, white doesn't have any weaknesses at all. And you have the isolated pawn. And that's strategically white is better. Like you exchange, the more pieces you exchange, the better white gets. But if you play this, now it's equal in terms of strategical points, because this is a weakness and this e3 is a weakness.
Wow.
There is no advantage anymore. And then you can argue that you are going to attack it, especially with the queens on the board. It's always very scary.
Okay, so I'll admit to you that the engine liked this move at a different point in the game, but like soon, like in 2-3 moves, and I really didn't understand why. So it's crazy that you came up with it instantly.
Because either you stand great here, protecting this pawn, it's like never a problem. Putting some pressure over here, it's definitely more active, I guess you can argue with that, than on g6. And only if your opponent wants to weaken his position, then you're going back, so it has no drawbacks. If he wants to play bishop f3 and exchange, you're happy to get rid of your isolated pawn, also no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
is no
Wow. Okay, that's great.
Okay, let's come back.
So you argue that in this position overall, black holds because we have good control over d5, and this is okay, even though we've traded off pieces.
Well, yeah, black is pretty active. If you look at the pieces, this rook is much more passive than this one.
That's true.
Those knights, the problem with them, they are having one good square for both knights. It's always a problem. But for white, it's difficult to exchange one pair of knights because you always take with the pawn.
And the hanging pawns, we prefer that over the isolated pawn.
Well, it depends on the situation, but in this case, yeah, you can just go forward thanks to your better development.
So let's say takes. Let's say like something like this, then I would have c5, maybe d4
Yeah,
in
of
the
course,
plan.
that
Okay.
feels very active. And
Okay,
your queen
perfect.
gets activated as well.
That illustrates.
I would say that a6 is your idea, just to
Yeah.
ask a question, what do you do with those knights?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. So this would have been a better line.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of like developing every single move a new piece
Yeah.
instead of making a second move with the same piece.
I was speaking. Yeah, what you were saying?
Once you're gonna be attacked, then you're gonna decide what to do. But why do you need to decide here whether your bishop should go here when, for example, he still has this opportunity? Then you can wait till he, decides what he wants to achieve, and then you will decide.
Yeah.
where
So
your
actually,
bishop
this
should go.
line, rook c8, knight here.
Uh,
Oh wait, yeah, the rook's there. Knight here. The rook is there. Yeah.
Okay.
Knight here
yeah, here
and bishop
again,
e4, and we're not scared of this now.
no, on g4 you can just.
I see. I see. Wow.
That's the advantage of not going back. Your pieces are still active, they are still attacking, creating some threats.
Okay. Wow.
And you are starting
So
like
psychologically, you could say that I decided kind of to lose by assuming my opponent was better, because this is a move that you make when you admit that your opponent's better.
maybe you can say that, yeah. Well, I never make such moves, to be honest.
Yeah.
Only if I'm forced to go back, and also I'm really upset about it, then I need to go back. But otherwise, why would I voluntarily go back? Doesn't make sense.
Wow.
Bobby Fischer said, never go back.
Fisher said never go back.
Yeah, so that's my motto as well. Okay, rook to c1. Yeah, and you see that both of your bishops are going back. And your
Oh, and
opponent
this is the line where queen e7, I rejected this.
Yeah.
This is the best engine move, but I just didn't like going, like trading pieces, because I saw in the chess structures book, he said never trade pieces in the isolated pawn.
the problem with those rules, never means never. Because
Yeah,
chess
yeah.
is so complicated.
Break the rules is rule number one.
Yeah, like the first year of chess, you learn the key principles, and the entire life afterwards, you learn when to break it. This is the difficulty of chess.
Okay, so bishop e7 is a mistake.
Knight goes to e5.
Yeah, here I was thinking knight d4 or knight d5. It's the same thing.
You
just
see, it's a
pressuring.
completely different story. Now he creates a threat. Now you don't have any pieces developed suddenly. Now this bishop, by the way, it was on f5.
It was better on
Absolutely no
f5.
problem. And now it's under attack. Now once again you got a problem.
And he didn't have to commit with knight d4.
Exactly.
Ah.
So that's exactly what I see with my students as well so often, that they are trying to prevent this threat that doesn't really exist, or it exists but it's not so dangerous, but you're wasting this precious time. So now you have to take
I
it
have
because
to
it's
take it, it's
basically
forced.
double attack. But now you see the C file is under control. Yeah, it's very scary actually.
Yeah, I was very scared.
And now you need to go back once again. So this is how
Oh,
it
here
works.
the engine said bishop here.
Yeah, but once you play bishop g6, you psychologically don't want to spend.
Well, here I'm. It's. I have to choose between two evils. Like which
yeah, but
one?
98, I would never choose it.
Me too.
Like, once
but
again, if you
I
don't.
would only do it if I had to. What would you suggest here?
Okay, what about a6? Let's try
A6,
to-
knight c7.
Rook c8. I don't see dangerous threats yet.
Okay,
Otherwise, the
A6.
bishop is the knight is just weird there. I want to play bishop g6 and win the knight.
Okay. Yeah. Bishop d. So a6. Let's just illustrate. Bishop d6 is coming in.
Yeah, and there are no threats from this knight. Okay, it's cute there, but what does it do? Ah, maybe you can take on f6, but it's never a problem. You take d5, but I get b's.
Yes, that's what I saw. I lose a pawn. So you would actually go for that?
No,
losing a
you.
pawn?
I guess you take back on b2. Right?
Oh, okay.
Maybe even you lose a pawn, but you get two beautiful bishops, open position.
Okay, so the line is this, and then bishop takes to win the pawn here, but you don't really win a pawn. There's this.
Yeah, maybe b7 is hanging in some lines, but
Oh yeah, this was hanging. This was why I didn't like this.
this is a real
Yes,
problem.
this was a real problem.
Maybe you can take on c1 first.
Yeah, let's see. I think I saw because I took so much time on this move. It's impossible.
Pawn is here. So here you must take.
Yeah, and then there's the intermediate move, and I lose a pawn fully. That's why I hated it.
Okay, can we improve the variation somehow?
Yeah, let's try. Because I was really trying to do this. Of course, you do this when you have no other choice.
Maybe we just don't need to play 6 immediately. It's just the force in line. That's why that's the first thing I'm checking. But let's just say that knight c7 might be unpleasant right now. What can we do about it?
My question's the same.
Maybe just queen d7 for now.
Queen d7. It's great. Queen
Because
d7.
then we wouldn't have the connection between the rooks, and in the same line we could just take with the rook, and we don't have that problem.
Wait, so okay, now knight c7, rook
Just rook
c8.
c8, and when you take, then the rooks are protecting each other, and you can just take here. And the b7 is also protected.
Oh, this is prophylaxis.
Well, this is development. Like, development is always the key to success. Whenever you develop the pieces, you are making something great to your position. And a6 is not really a developing move. So if you compare the two variations directly, then of
Queen
course
d7.
it wins. The drawback is that white is not forced to play knight c7. Maybe there is rook to c7.
Ah,
That's
yes.
annoying. But we also attack the bishop, right?
Oh, the engine. This is what the engine suggested. The queen e6 line. Yeah.
Okay.
This.
Yeah, it's
It's
quite
crazy. You
double-edged.
point out exactly what I'm reviewing. This is insane.
Well, trying to logically think how can we improve the position. It's always about that. How can we do something better?
And what if like I just use the tempo to trade and take?
I'm always happy for that. I mean, look at those.
Ah, you
bishops.
take on. Oh, okay. So you don't even if this wasn't hanging.
Yeah.
Oh no, but this is hanging now.
This is hanging, but
Oh,
you
queen
have
c6?
queen c6 there.
Oh.
This rook on b8 is also weird.
No, but bishop takes, knight c7, queen here, queen b3, and this is hanging. So white, I think, wins a pawn.
Well, I don't necessarily want
You
to
don't
take
even
there.
care about that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, it's a complete.
I want somehow to get rid of those guys. Maybe rook b8, knight c7 doesn't work like that, right? I just have queen to c6. Because even if you are a pawn down with such a pair, bishop's pair, you should have a compensation. d4.
So wait, let's say they trade and then knight d4.
Yeah, but
oh, this is hanging.
So there are some problems. Yeah.
But here, your argument, you don't even care about the pawn. Your argument is that we have activity. Because I just didn't want to give a pawn in the game that wasn't this one. If you do give a pawn, sometimes
Yeah,
you push.
but you get something in return. Just like that, I wouldn't give up.
This
a pawn.
bishop is that strong. Yeah, I see.
But it's just the open position. If the position would be closed, then bishops are not that strong. But here you can even think about something like that, create some threats. Maybe rook c. Yeah, you have the open file here as well.
This is hanging, but it's, rook.
Well, you can go back.
Yeah. Okay, rook c8.
I guess white rather wants to cement it on d4.
Yes.
But it's one story to block it and another story to win, because you have so many active ideas. You can just place the queen somewhere, then place the bishop over there, attack here along the diagonal.
Wow.
Then the bishop can once again come to e4.
Okay.
And there are still problems with the development. As long as the rook doesn't come into play, you're actually a rook up. So it's white who needs to finish it. Maybe queen should go to d6, so that if you play queen d2, there are some bishop takes and rook c2 ideas.
Wow.
Or maybe queen to a3 is also, because we are blocking rook c1. And yeah, there are a lot of pressure.
And now we're threatening this and rook c2.
Yeah, exactly.
Or this and queen takes, queen takes. Ah. Okay, so you would have not. So, yeah, this is interesting. You would have not. You would have sacked the pawn way earlier for activity.
Instead of playing 98, comparing to it, definitely. Wow.
Never play 98. Like, never succumb to
If you have to play that, it means, like, if I have an option to sacrifice a pawn and be active like that and compare it with 98, it's just day and night.
Okay. Wow. And 98, would you play that move? You wouldn't play that move unless you were up material, let's say.
I think I wouldn't even consider it.
Wow.
First of
crazy.
all, knight c7, as we have seen, is not such a threat. Then why do
Yes,
you need
because
to
white
play...
is still flexible. So they're still flexible with the knight. The knight hasn't
Yeah.
committed to c7.
Exactly. Why
So
do
it's
you
the
need
same
to
mistake
stop
as
it?
bishop g6.
Exactly.
I made the same mistake 2 times.
Yeah. And I have
Wow.
noticed so many players like around your level are doing that.
Wow. Incredible.
Let's try to...
Yeah, find the position again.
Rook was still there. And your main problem is that all of your pieces are going back, whereas your opponent's pieces are going forward, and this is usually a very bad sign. Knight is
So you took back.
Ah,
Yeah, so takes, and then here I played.
and you played 98.
Yeah,
And this pawn is now very weak.
extremely weak.
8, queen to d... Ah, okay, it was actually queen to d2. And now you played a6. Okay. So he goes... Ah, no, he goes to c7 actually. So he just wants to exchange his... Ah, that's still here. Wants to exchange as much as possible. Okay, let's see what he gets with it.
You would have played knight d4, right? I'm assuming.
Probably
Yeah.
so, because when I look at knight on d4 and the knight on e8, although probably you have an idea to transfer it to e4 and where it's going to be active.
Okay.
So that depends. Bishop c7, but that doesn't feel that convincing. Yes, you still have this weakness, but
No, this is bad.
I'm not sure it's so.
Because now black gains a little initiative. The bishop goes back.
Rook c8. Yeah, you are finally. He's
Like breathing.
helping you. Yeah, he's helping you to finish the development. Yeah, bishop g4 is a bit annoying. Because if you need, I don't want to play f5.
Why
But
not?
otherwise, because it's weakening your structure again. Now you have not only one, but two weaknesses.
You're exactly correct. No, it's like every move that I played wrong, you were exactly correct. This is the losing move.
Okay.
And it's just by intuition, right? You didn't calculate why it's bad.
Well, it looks bad. That's
It
you
just,
don't
it
need
just
to
loses
calculate.
after bishop f3.
Yeah, that looks
Bishop
actually,
f7, queen d4. I missed queen d4.
this looks terrible. But the only alternative is bishop f5. Can you
And
do
the
that?
engine gives a draw after this,
Ah,
giving
because
a
you have
pawn.
bishop f6.
Yes, and then f4, and then the endgame
Yeah.
is one rook and double pawns, but white is up a pawn.
Yeah, when you need to play f4, that's
So
all.
this, let's show it for the viewers. This, and then it's
It
or
just
it's
exchange everything.
just takes.
No. I wouldn't give the open file. Just take it.
Okay, so it just takes, and then
If
queen
he takes with the pawn, you will find a square for the queen, but it's important to fight for the open file.
Right. So queen here, takes. Oh, the engine just says this.
Yeah,
and this.
now it's okay to take. Because before, when the queen is on the board, you don't want to give up the file so that everything is hanging.
And how would you draw this endgame? Let's say rook c5.
Well, you need to activate the king.
Yeah.
So many players are forgetting about it, but maybe it's not the time for it. Maybe you rather want to put the rook.
So rook d8. Seek counterplay. Activate the rook.
Yeah, you just need to calculate, so it's
Ooh.
not that simple.
B5
But maybe
maybe?
you can just play b5, and when he attacks here, you can play rook d2. In every case, your pieces should be active. Never stay passive there, just hoping to attack this pawn for the eternity, because sooner or
So
later...
never make a rook hold on c5.
No, your rook, like his
Yeah,
rook,
with
you don't
my
care.
rook, never make like a rook like
Yeah,
straight.
because you are just staying there, not creating any strides. But look at your rook here; it's attacking everything, not allowing the king to be activated. Those are. It's always better to attack from behind than from. How do you call it? It's always better to put the rook behind the
pawn,
not in
in
front of it.
Okay. And so let's say you're in an OTB game, you have 5 minutes left on the clock. How confident are you out of 100% that you're drawing this as black?
Well, it very much depends on my opponent, because if I'm playing against a very
GM.
strong GM, then of course he could be very technical. But I just know that in the rook game there is always a very good chance to make a draw, especially if your rook is active.
Okay.
If I can also bring my king, that would be even more fantastic.
So I missed a strong opportunity.
But these pawns, they don't feel convincing at all. I guess it would be very difficult for white to win such a position.
Okay, and the king would activate like this, or
Yeah.
it's like kind of.
Well,
Because
for now
our king
you
is cut off.
are just focused on picking as many pawns as possible.
Okay, so it would go like this,
Yeah. Now you're threatening rook e2.
and the ideal for us is to do like this
Yeah.
for black.
That is an easy draw.
Okay.
Well, maybe no, you're not really threatening rook e2 because you can always attack there. So yeah, I guess from now on you could focus
But
on...
rook e2, rook here, b4.
Yeah, rook e4.
Okay.
And then he kicks you out.
So maybe we want b4, b3.
Yeah, that's actually
no
a very
rook
good
b6 'cause
idea.
we take-
Exactly. If you exchange, it's always an easy draw.
Okay. Wow, fantastic. Yeah, so bishop f. I was already low on time, but yeah, it's hard to like really consider in depth like losing a pawn like that.
Yeah, I agree. I also notice quite a lot in my games that maybe I have an extra pawn and I try to somehow hold it, but the engine says, don't care about the pawn, just get the activity, go forward, and you're going to get your attacking chances. That's going to be much more important than that little pawn. Because we are not playing pawns, we are playing chess, we want to checkmate our opponent,
Right.
after all. Okay, so f5,
Where's my bishop? This bishop is off? No.
e7,
Oh, e7. Yes.
f5, bishop f3, and you played king h8.
Another wrong prophylactic move, probably.
So let's see. The queen d4 is a problem because if you
big
try
problem.
to go forward, then there will be a checkmate.
Yeah. And it's over. It's like
There
resign.
is no way.
And
to
here,
defend
giving
it.
this pawn is too much.
Yeah.
And this remains weak. That's
Well,
what I hated.
it's already too much. I mean, with
It's
all
completely
of
over. This is over.
all of those weaknesses.
Queen's on b2.
Yeah. So king h8, queen d5. Yeah.
I just had to give that. Oh, is there another? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a pair
That
of
would be
rooks.
that would be good for white. Okay. Takes. So you are now 1 pawn down.
Yeah.
But absolutely no compensation.
But
This is
I
a huge
gave
difference.
the right pawn. In my view, I gave the right pawn.
Yeah, but for me, it's not about the pawns. It's about whether you have some opportunities. Some
I don't have
strides to
activity.
play. You
So
don't
you
have anything.
hate that.
Exactly. Your
Okay.
bishop is doing nothing. It's like white is better, but has an extra pawn.
Hmm.
Like normally they say white has an extra pawn, but black has activity.
Yes,
And here
or counterplay.
white has an extra pawn, but has activity.
And has the better pieces, and has the activity, and has the fighting
exactly.
file.
So
Okay.
everything falls apart. Takes b5. Yeah, now rook comes to c7 as well, probably. Rook c7, exactly. Bishop f6, yeah, and the second pawn falls. Like the
No,
moment.
there's a pawn on a6.
Ah, okay. Then it's not that bad. Is there some ideas with bishop j? It
Yeah,
probably
nothing works. It doesn't give anything.
It doesn't give anything.
But the
It's
engine
stupid.
says, you know, surprisingly enough, just this, and it's a Zugzwang.
Hmm.
So you just play pawns.
But why can't you go to d6, for example?
This bishop will be undefended if you ever go off this.
Yeah, you can go out, but at least you have some squares. It's not completely.
Yeah. No, it's not complete. No,
Ah, so
but like, I don't know.
Yeah,
the engine
there
says
is no
this
way-
completely winning.
yeah, if the king just comes and you don't.
Yeah,
have any-
like this.
Exactly.
Oh, like this is so strong. Like the king on e5, it's completely over.
That's so
And
many.
then you trade the bishops when you want, and the king is
Of course.
up 4 tempi.
That's also what so many players miss, that you need to activate your king in the endgame. It's like, in the opening, it's like a little prince. You need to care about it, you need to make sure it's in safety. But in the endgame, it becomes a really powerful king, and you have to use it, you have to go forward.
So he plays rook c6, which I thought was a mistake.
Rook c6 going into the... Well, it's the same color as
Same
bishops,
color.
and normally they say it's almost like the pawn endgame. So if the pawn endgame is winning, then the bishop's endgame should also be winning.
And this pawn endgame is winning. Let's say it's like this.
Yeah, of course. Extra pawn, 99% it's winning. If there are no weaknesses.
99%?
Definitely.
No, doubled pawns.
No, I mean,
Oh, if it's- if
there
it's
is not,
clean?
nothing special.
Yeah.
And then there are some like weak pawns, like distant passers, maybe for the side who has one pawn. But just like normal, 99% it's like always.
Wow.
Because yeah, how can you make a draw with a pawn?
So king with same activity. So like nobody has like a super powerful king.
Yeah.
99% of king and pawn endgames with
Yeah.
a pawn, extra pawn is winning.
Definitely.
Wow.
Because you will always create this passer and the king has to stop it, and meanwhile you're gonna get everything else. That's how it works. So you use this extra pawn as a deflection. And
To get a pass pawn and then
yeah,
fox
yeah,
in the chicken coop.
to go forward to break through. Okay, so we got the bishop's endgame.
That would never be in a chess book, by the way. That's just like street knowledge that you acquire from talking to people. I feel.
Okay,
Yeah.
a3, g5. Yeah, now the king should just go. Yeah, but instead that's weird. I wouldn't waste any time. I would just bring. Although maybe he wanted to cement this structure so he wins another pawn. Actually, yeah, but you didn't have any chance. Maybe here was.
I did have a chance.
Yeah, you played bishop f7.
Yeah.
And here you can play bishop c4, and then you can play a5.
Oh!
And then at
I
least-
missed bishop here? No, b4, b4.
Anyway,
Yeah.
then you need to go here, and then you have bishop c8.
Oh!
Goes there, then you have a5. I mean, it's still bad,
The
but
bishop
at
will be
least
passive.
you don't lose.
Because I didn't actually catch this when analyzing the game on my own. Engine says this immediately.
Yeah, that's even better actually, because then you place your pawns. But I'm not sure. Maybe the skin is so fast that
It's so fast, it's completely losing anyways.
That's why I don't like it. But yeah, I guess it's losing anyway, so it's
So it's
hard to give a good advice.
But this is very like this is completely
Yeah,
losing.
when you
Once he
allow-
binds with b4, it's
to take another pawn,
yeah.
g5, and here b4 goes to g7. f4. Okay, he wants to cement. This is actually quite professional. He wants to cement all of your pawns on the light squares, because if you both have light squares bishop, that's what you should do, and then it's easy to win all of those weaknesses.
So while he attracts my king and bishop towards this side of the board that needs attention, he'll create some weaknesses on this side of the board by fixing my pawns.
Of course, and if he can manage to do it immediately, not waiting for you to play f4, then he uses his chance. He goes to f6. Bishop d7. That's unexpected. Why is he not just taking the pawn?
No clue.
Because you are not in time to like catch the bishop. No way. Just
It was really bishop d7?
it says so. Maybe you have missed.
No, bishop d7.
Yeah. And after bishop d5, you did play bishop c8.
Yeah.
But it's just losing time. King f2. h5, but it's difficult to really spoil this white. g4. Now all of your pawns are on the
Yeah.
white squares. This is like the worst thing.
But there's no other way that I prevent like h4
Yeah.
takes or
yeah, it's just too late.
h4. No, I had takes, and then bishop takes here.
Yeah,
Completely losing.
everything works.
Everything works.
h4 goes to 4. Now finally he takes. But all he needs to do really is just bring the king to the corner, to the center. Once the king is active, it's immediately game over. Bishop c8, g6, d3, bishop d5, in d3, and you resign.
It's completely over.
Yeah, so I would say the main mistake is to be just way too passive. You
Way
just,
too passive.
You just cannot go back every time and expect something good to happen.
And I made non-improving moves in my position.
Yeah,
I made moves that weren't improving my position, and I was moving pieces twice that were not progressing my pieces or...
Exactly.
And also, I took so much time developing my rooks. I think that's very important.
Well, because you are wasting your time going back.
Yeah.
And it's not needed.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, if your opponent needs to make those 4 moves so that you make a second move, that's okay. But don't do it voluntarily, because he never played 94 or played it.
He never played it.
He never played it. So this bishop g6 was
for nothing.
Absolutely for nothing. And it actually was better on a5, because after 95 it was attacked.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the analysis.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the analysis by I Am Yevgeny. Make sure to check out his channel, Journey to Grandmaster. He is literally on a journey just like us on this YouTube channel to Grandmaster from International Master. He's obviously a very strong player, as you've seen in this video. We hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.